Ready to dive into the deep end of your calling? This pool wisdom is going to change absolutely everything for you. See, are you feeling lost or uncertain about your business and your life's purpose? Well, sometimes the most unexpected lessons can come from the most mundane tasks. Can I get a witness? Like cleaning your pool. In this inspiring video, I share a personal story about how my pool vacuum taught me a valuable lesson, or many actually, about improving my business and ultimately walking in my purpose and living a more fulfilling life. From embracing imperfection to letting go of control, discovering the surprising ways that a simple household chore can lead to a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world. So dive in and let's get ready to be inspired to find your own purpose. Well, let me just start by saying this mindless $300 pool vacuum taught me a business secret that years of hustling never could. I know it sounds crazy, but stick with me. See, this little robot silently tracing patterns on the bottom of my pool showed me exactly why my faith-based business was completely stuck. More than that, it revealed the one thing that was missing that could finally bring me the work-life balance that I truly believe God wanted for me. If you've ever felt like you're working harder than ever in your business, but it's just spinning your wheels or feels like it, if you feel that there's a gap between your faith and your daily chaos, then this is actually for you. Because the lesson I learned right here by the water changed everything. See, by nature, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. And as an engineer, I'm a problem solver. But be careful not to be the poster child for the hustle and grind entrepreneur. I wore the exhaustion like a badge of honor. My days were frantic, a frantic blur of back-to-back calls, a constant flood of emails, and a to-do list that seemed to have babies overnight. I was pulling late nights and the belief that I was doing the work of the Lord, all of that. But here's the brutal truth. My stomach hurt. My eating at my desk in front of the computer wasn't good for my digestion, not at all. My family saw the back of my head more than they saw my face. And there was this deep abiding peace that was supposed to come from walking in my calling. Supposedly, it was not happening. It was nowhere to be found. But instead, there was just this constant low-grade hum of anxiety, if you would. I was so busy working for God that I had no time to actually be with God. I was building a foundation of chaos, and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't seeing the growth, but it was killing me to achieve. Or like I was really failing in business, my family, as well as my faith, all at the same time. Now, let me just say, for more of the rest, restoration, and making God the CEO of your business, check out my other videos in this series, specifically the bathroom and the bedroom. But today I want to focus on what I learned at the pool and the systems that you need to improve. All right, let's jump right in. See, one afternoon, I was parked by my pool, laptop open, of course. I was frustrated and overwhelmed. And I was thinking, I'm doing everything that I can. And I remember thinking, why isn't it working? And that's when I noticed it. My automatic pool vacuum, chugging along at the bottom of the pool. And it seemed like 100 times I'd seen this, but this time I really watched it. There was no drama, no frenzy. It didn't speed up when it hit a dirty patch or slow down to clean a specific spot. It didn't get discouraged when it bumped into the wall. It just pivoted and kept going. It went right on up the wall for a little bit. It had a pre-programmed path, a system, and its only job was to follow that system methodically, patiently, covering every single square inch of the pool floor. It never got distracted by a floating leaf or flustered by the deep end. It just followed its system, and the result was undeniable: a sparkling, clean pool. I watched it for a long time. The simple machine doing its simple job and with a simple system. It started as I turned on the pump, followed a clear path, did its work. It was efficient. It was effective. It was peaceful. And my business? My business was a complete opposite of that. I was the one frantically trying to clean the entire pool by hand with the tiny net, splashing water everywhere I could, sprinting from one end to the other of the pool, trying to catch every single leaf all at once, exhausting myself, if you would, and still ending up with a dirty pool. It was all frantic energy, in all honesty. No system, or some system, but not really efficient or effective. There was a lot of chaotic hustle, and there are no intentional, effective path. So that's when it just clicked. The vacuum wasn't smarter than me. It was just a perfect system that I did not have. I was running my business on pure chaotic energy, believing that my passion and my faith were enough. But the Bible does clearly tell us in 1 Corinthians chapter number 14, verse 33, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. When I looked at my business, all I saw was my own disorder reflected back at me, and not the peace of God, not like it should be. My work was just a mirror of my own internal chaos. So think about it. Creation itself is a testament to God's incredible order. He made the world in a sequence. The sun, the moon, the stars run on a schedule. Our own bodies are a miracle of interconnected systems working in harmony with one another. God is an awesome God, and He is an awesome creator of this entire universe. He is a God of order. So why on earth did I think that I could build a business to honor Him on a foundation of pure chaos? Now, I realized that my lack of systems, or better systems, wasn't just a business problem. It was a spiritual one as well. And I wasn't trusting God enough to build with intention and order. True stewardship. See, I realized it's not just about a budget. It's also about wisely managing your time, your energy, and your gifts that God has given. Ultimately, it was poor stewardship. So I had to change. I had to build my own pool vacuum system, and I'm going to help you do yours today. So if you would, comment deep if you're ready to stop playing in the shallow end of your purpose, because we're ready to get practical how-tos right now. So sitting right there by the pool, I grabbed a notebook and I mapped out what this little robot did. I translated its simple logic into 3 core systems my business desperately needed. This wasn't about becoming a robot. It was about creating the structure that would finally give me freedom. System number 1, the client attraction system. This was the inlet. See, when I initially put in a new vacuum, because one wasn't working, it was not sucking in the water to move the vacuum as it should. Normally it goes, It was not doing any of that. It was not moving at all. So this relates to clarity and awareness. If you aren't bringing in new people into your ecosystem or your metron, it's an awareness problem. So you have to ask the question, do they know that they have a problem? Do they know I have a solution? Who has this problem? How can I help reveal a need to be solved? See, this goes to clarity for sure of who you serve and the problem that you solve, but it's a little bit deeper. How can I get them to see themselves? And then how can I get them to see me? Think body deodorant. I mean, we've been living all of this time with just the deodorant we put under our arms, and now all of a sudden, everybody wants deodorant everywhere. Ha. So if you're going to do this clarity and awareness, it's accomplished through educational material, videos, posts, and yes, lead magnets. All right, system number 2. After they come in, we need to have a client onboarding system, a clear starting point. Part A of this is I tackled how we brought in new clients. My old system, if you can call it that, was a jumble of random emails, lead magnets, and that didn't really consider the customer journey. Notice I'm saying the customer's journey. It was like tossing the vacuum into the pool and just not even turning on the pump. So I built a new system, a clear starting point, if you would. Just like the vacuum starts at a specific spot, wherever you put it down, every potential client comes in through a free offer. A simple PDF a strategy call, but they needed more than that. It wasn't moving them from what doesn't produce to implementation, and it definitely wasn't giving them any transformation. So I reviewed the system. I added encouragement and inspiration in the emails, links to specific videos or a book that would help them effectively, pairing them basically with information to move them forward. And the best next step, or the next best step, for each lead magnet, I reviewed not only just the title, but the customer journey that I wanted them to take. But on this client onboarding, there's more than that. When they decided to purchase something, either my coaching, my mentoring, or a course, it was the onboarding process for that too. See, every new client would now follow a predictable path. An automated welcome email that just didn't say, "Thanks for signing up with me." It led them to the exact next steps that set expectations and linked them to their welcome packet, as well as a schedule for our kickoff call. That ensured that we covered all the critical points and left the client feeling confident and cared for. Now, this wasn't just about efficiency, it was about hospitality, right? We were creating a welcoming, trusting experience, a core tenet of servant leadership. So ask, where can you add value? What is the next best step? How can you learn more, or how can they learn more about you and what you produce? And how can you share your client wins and show them that they can also achieve this? How can you be that guide? How can you create an experience that will want them to stay connected to you? Oh, but there's a step 3, system 3, expanding your reach, methodically covering the entire pool. See, in order to fulfill my purpose, there were some divine assignments that I was not meeting. How did I see this? I recognized that initially when I put the new vacuum in, I didn't have as many links to cover the entire pool. The links were too short. So I could see a strategic line or a specific line of where it ended and what I was missing. I could see the outline of where it stopped. For this, I needed to first understand the vastness of what God had called me to do. See, you don't realize that this isn't the full total of your destiny just yet. There is more. There is so much more. In order to reach everyone, I was made aware of the issue, and I had to then take action. So you go from awareness to action and then adjustments. And this was more of the adjustment. There's some practical steps that I took, and I'm going to suggest that you take as well. Number 1, examine the platforms that you're on. Where are your ideal clients gathering? Where are they on social media? Where are they physically? The virtual stages, the organizations that they're a part of, the events that they go to, the conferences, even the summits. If you aren't showing up there, you're missing out on divine opportunities. So you got to look at the platforms. But number 2, networking to collaborate, not to sell. Ask, what am I, or who am I aligned with? What rooms do I need to be in order to pour out and to be poured into? See, the Bible tells us that iron sharpens iron, but you've got to be in proximity where iron is. Make sure you're in proximity to greatness. If you're not in the right rooms, get there. 3rd, strategically plan to be consistent so that you can show up regularly. Think ideal week, figuring out when you're going to do what, time blocking if necessary. What days of the week are you going to do your content creation? When are you going to do your training? And also think delegation. This is going to allow you to then show up at those networking events and be on those platforms. And then the 4th thing, ask God daily what to focus on and who you need to be connecting with. Yeah, those are my 3 big systems. I will tell you honestly, the change wasn't overnight, but it was replaced by a smooth, predictable process. Once the systems are in place and they are working appropriately and effectively, you don't have to think about them any longer. My introduction now was more inspiring, valuable, and encouraging as people were coming in the inlet. My clients were happier from day one because the onboarding was so clear and professional. They felt secure, which led to better results and had more referrals. I was in more appropriate rooms where I could refer others and expand the purpose that God had for me. That's divine alignment. And bottom line, I got my life back. I wasn't working late nights anymore. I was working focused, productive hours. And then I was shutting my laptop, closing it all up, and actually being present with my family. The anxiety was replaced by a deep sense of peace. My business started to grow, not because I was hustling harder, but because I was working smarter with systems built on a foundation of God's order. My operations began to reflect the peace of the God that we serve. Yeah. So it's pretty funny that God can use anything, even a pool vacuum, to teach us something so profound. My biggest breakthrough didn't come from a conference or a best-selling book. It came from when I slowed down long enough to see God's wisdom in the ordinary. God is a God of order. And when we align our work with his nature, we invite his peace into it. You don't need to build 100 complex systems overnight. No, just start with one. Look at the most chaotic part of your business right now. What's causing you the most stress? Where do you feel that you're just scooping up water with a net? In other words, it's falling through the cracks. Here's my challenge to you. What is one small system that you can create this week to push back the chaos and invite in more of God's order? Maybe it's an email template. Maybe it's blocking off 30 minutes for focused work. Maybe it's just committing to 5 minutes of prayer before you open your laptop. Whatever it is, start there. I want you to tell me in the comments below, what's the one system that you're going to build this week? And then let's make it real, because I love to cheer you on. Now, your business breakthrough is in the deep waters of faith, right? Subscribe for more purpose-driven strategies and tell me what's keeping you in the shallow end. All right, finally, if this story hit home and you want more help building these kinds of systems for your own business, get my 5 biggest mistakes that are keeping you overwhelmed and unprofitable download. I've got that download for you. You don't have to build a foundation of chaos nor make the mistakes that I did. There is a better, more peaceful, and a more effective way. I'm Dr. Chonta Haynes. I've been called the one-stop shop for faith-based coaches, authors, speakers, ready to 5x their income and their impact. As the destiny designer and accelerator, I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs build scalable brands with strategy, systems, and spirit. And so this week, I want to make sure you do just that. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your week. God bless.